9 to noon. The Analyst.
FP Bercich via X. And the analyst joins us now. Do you have any YouTube eye in the sky plans for the near future, like looking back or looking forward? And good morning.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of things that I'm going to do, whether it's going to be here with the VEN or on my own. That's what I'm here to try to figure out. That's my next few days.
What's up? What's the Vikings Entertainment Network, the TCO radio studio where we normally are on Tuesdays? You're there now. Like, what's that whole area like a day after One Last Cry?
I don't know. I kind of just walked in a few minutes ago, and it's interesting because once you get behind a door somewhere, it's business as usual, right? I saw the schedule for the day and when the players are going to be in and out and that whole thing.
Yep.
But it's the parking lot's full. It's kind of like a normal Monday in that regard. So yeah, I haven't really had a chance to see anybody yet. So I haven't. Not a lot. You can't tell. I'll head down and get a cup of coffee from in a minute here. So
well, the reason I ask is because after Walsh missed that kick at the College Stadium against Seattle in the playoffs. Now, granted, that's a playoff game, and it was a very emotional way to end things. I went to the Vikings Entertainment Network that following Monday when it was at Winter Park in Eden Prairie. And that was the end of the 2015 season, so the game's early 2016. And I think I brought like 24 cupcakes in, something like that. So we're all emotionally eating and just like Walsh this, Cam Chancellor that, Captain Munnerlyn this, Russ that. We're just talking it out. And somebody who was new to the program, not the Vikings Entertainment Network, so to speak, but involved with it, but new with the team, just like skipped in there. And they're like, all right, we're going to go to the field house and have a 2016 planning meeting. And I'm like, 2016 planning meeting? Holy cow. Aortas were smashed like 24 hours ago.
I always love that one.
Can we all just like feel the pain for a minute and then move forward? And that individual stared darts into my soul, never spoke to me again.
I always love that one.
Fortunately, quickly was gone, but never spoke to me again.
Yeah, no, it's that's the only thing you can do, right? When you especially like season like that. I mean, I've been a part of a lot of them. 98 was bad. Obviously 25th that one there was as bad as it gets. But that's life, and unfortunately for Viking fans, it's a little bit. We have a lot of those. We don't have the one to go back to, right? It'd be nice to have, and somewhere in history, have that one game, have the Super Bowl, have one Lombardi. But I guess Paul, that's part of the thing.
I'm glad you're saying this.
This is all a process, right? You do it every year. And if you've been around and been through a lot of them, then you start unpacking things. And some people like to start digging. I mean, personally, I love to start digging into the numbers right now because I want to know what it is that we as fans need to be concerned about, or what needs to be fixed, what needs to be worked on, what really did go well, and kind of look through the lens. Once you start looking back on the season, look at it through the lens of those things, turnovers and penalties. I mean, those are things that plagued this team early in the year. I heard you talk a little while ago about the Bears game with Duvernay, and then you think about Pittsburgh playing them in Ireland. I mean, you win that game. Yeah. It's like that's the thing with those early season losses. It's like those games can come back to haunt you. You have to be very unemotional in that regard. Look through it and say, all right, this is what needs to be done.
And I'm glad you mentioned some of the harder moments you went through as a player, and then some as a coach for the Minnesota Vikings. But for the half decade you were on the team.
Oh, you mean like Arizona?
Well, Arizona as a coach, I mean, that stuck you 20 grand. But nevertheless, let's look at the 5 years that you were on the team and you played for. Pete had a season-ending injury in '99, but he's still on the team. Because I'm totally negative that the Minnesota Vikings don't get a playoff game to sweat, even wild card weekend. Those are just so much fun to prep for, and the fans love them, and I know Pete loves them. But the reason I bring this up is because Pete Bercich, in those 5 years he was with the Vikings, during that time, the team went to the playoffs 4 of his 5 years and played in 9 playoff games over the 5 years you were on the squad, including 2 NFC title games. I mean,
94 from 94 to 2000, Paul, when I was here. Whether it's practice squad for a year and then IR for another year.
I didn't put 94 in there.
Yeah, I missed the playoffs one time. We had one season where
95.
we were 8-8. Yeah, that's it.
Well, making the playoffs was all you knew, man. I mean, that was all you knew for a half decade. And so that's like for you as an analyst or formerly as a coach or as a player, I mean, you know what that feels like right now. Not getting close, but no cigar terrorism, so close, so far away, however you want to parse it. Not playing even next weekend sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing. You're going 100 miles an hour, full go, and then it's full stop, right? Clock goes down to 0, blow a whistle, done. Season's over. That's it.
Yeah.
And, this, as a player, this marks the beginning of the greatest thing about being a professional football player, and that's 4 months of having to do nothing. And as a coach, you just have to sweat through Black Monday, and hopefully you have the contract in place. And if you do, then things slow down, and it's actually like a normal job where you show up to work and go 9 to 5, and you're kind of done. You plan for the combine. You start planning for, all the things that you have to do this off season. So it's the ups and downs are, they're all part of it, and you have to learn to deal with them, right? You have to learn to not let it kill you. But you have to let it motivate you. So you still have to feel it, because that's what you need. You need that push. I don't know, Paul. I think the worst part is this is the last time this group of guys will be together today when they meet. And, the old guys will have the meeting, they'll walk out, and it might be the last time you see these guys for 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
But when you're 27, 25 something, you don't think that way. You know what I mean? You don't think, man, I better take this moment in a little bit. That's what was kind of rare about yesterday with the opportunities to do what they did with Harrison Smith and with C.J. Ham, is that you actually did take some time to recognize in a game while everything's going on that 2 of these cornerstones of who the Vikings as a franchise want to be are probably departing. And so that was pretty surreal, pretty fantastic, and credit to the franchise for doing that.
The Analyst.
Hey, as a coach, when it is time to turn the page for most teams in the NFL today and beyond, how contentious is it early among just the coaches and those as they kind of pull this thing apart? You mentioned digging into the numbers. Well, there's going to be meetings over the next so many weeks here after exit interviews and such with the players where it's like, okay, where did we go wrong? And the coach himself has talked about, I need to dig into the processes and how that needs to be better, how I need to be better. Is it ever contentious within the group? And if it is, how quickly can you get over that? How quickly do you need to get over that to be productive in the offseason and put it back together?
Nardo, this is the way I'm going to answer this. The problem is when you work with people who don't stay in their lane. And everybody could probably say that, right? That's when meetings become contentious, is when you have somebody in the group that wants to throw overarching things, when you have a position coach that's complaining about how you travel or how team meetings are, right?
Yeah.
That's when things get contentious, because in this world, if you're a coach, your job is very, very siloed. You do this, you do that, the coordinator does this, and the head coach is, you have your responsibilities. And if you stay in your lane, then everything is okay. It's painful. You go through it, but it doesn't become a problem. When it becomes a problem is when a defensive coach is in a staff meeting and he fires out about, hey, we got to quit turning the ball over, right? We got to run the ball more. We got to do this more. It may be a valid point. He may be right, but it's not your job. It's the offensive coordinator's job and the head coach's job to deal with the team on that level.
Preach.
Right? So when somebody just pops off and says something, yeah, guys, they want to fight. They want to argue. They want to fight. That's just how it, and maybe, I don't know if it's that way anymore. I would assume it's a little bit less, but man, it can get ugly. It can get very ugly.
Pete Bercich. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying you have to be careful of that.
Pete Bercich, courtesy of Sukup Manufacturing and Sukup.com. Sukup, thank you for the season-long sponsorship of The Analyst.
We were talking about it earlier because as part of that process, putting this thing back together, there are two camps, it feels like, in the fan base right now where it's burn the whole thing down, or we were moments away. You mentioned Duvernay. We talked about it. And just those winning in Dublin. You can pick apart the season and play that game where if this one thing is different, then maybe we are playing this next Saturday or Sunday. As coaches, it's consolation season for fans. How quickly does that get completely Heisman stiff-armed out of the way as you have to be as honest as humanly possible that you aren't in the dance and that this does need to be markedly better the next time around? It
does. We're a quarterback away. I mean, that's what it is. And I've talked to enough people who've been around the sport a long time and whose opinions I will listen to and respect, who look at this roster.
Well, how is Dixon Edwards? I haven't seen him in forever.
He's good. But yeah, you're a quarterback away from being a playoff team.
Hold on.
That's how it is.
But explain that. Because they have a quarterback.
We played 3 different quarterbacks this year, Paul.
Okay.
Right? And again, this is what I mean by when you have to look at things the hard way, and you talked about the odds of JJ being the starter and everything.
Yeah.
Which I don't disagree with. He is favored to be the quarterback here next year, but you have to have a plan B and a damn good plan B because of the evidence. The kid's been here for 35 games and he's started and completed 8 of them. Those are facts, right? If he has a great offseason, maybe he'll never get hurt again. That's a possibility. But right now, from the evidence and from everything that we have to look at, and with him with the wantingness to run over corners as he's going out of bounds, is this trend going to continue? You have to plan for that. You can't ignore it and be like, he'll be fine next year, so we can go in with an undrafted rookie free agent as a backup. And no, you'll be right back. You'll be 5 games into it, and then you'll have a Philadelphia Eagles team or someone like that on the schedule, the Rams or the 49ers, and you need a win, and you have to have a backup plan. So that's.
No, I got what you're saying. That's what I'm trying. See what I'm saying? But they did with Carson Wentz, and then he got too hurt. And I mean, it's like. So I understand what you're saying. But the way I'm looking at it right now with the way you're laying it out is I can't say whether mistakes were made or it was perfectly planned. But maybe they thought, okay, it's a cinch. Nick Mullins will be the backup to J.J. McCarthy. All right. And he's a fine backup. Well, then he leaves to Jacksonville. All right. Well, we put so much time into Daniel Jones. Of course he'll come back here. We're going to pay as much, if not more, than anybody. Well, he leaves because he recognizes Anthony Richardson has some L to him, and he can start in Indianapolis. So there, and with Darnold with the quarterback tag and whatever that costs, or the 3-year deal or whatever, I'm still out on that. And yes, I know what happened the other night. So that's personally speaking, that's my opinion. But if there were bad calculations made on what we know we're going to get, and then under the cover of darkness you don't get it, well, that has to be fixed.
Well, yeah, Paul, and that's okay. So regardless of where you stand on all these topics and what we think of these things, that's the process.
Yeah.
That is what goes on now. That's you talk about the quote unquote difficult conversations. What's difficult is being honest about that and to look back and say, okay, at this stage of going into the season, we had we had quarterbacks A, B, and C. Well, you mentioned Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz wasn't doing anything until the season started, right?
Yeah.
And so how did that happen, right? Well, we made a mistake on who we thought our backups were going to be. Okay, why did we make that mistake? What did we see in him that really wasn't there? What did we miss? Right? And then you adjust your process to make sure that doesn't happen again. But I guess
that's fair.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the learning part of it going forward. And you better figure that out because you are in the exact same spot. And this is why I'm stuck on it, because you're right in that same spot now. Again, you need a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And you better find one. And you can't make the same mistakes that you did last year. I'm not saying you made horrific mistakes or, whatever, but you didn't get that guy. You got Sam Darnold 2 years ago. You need to do that. You need to replicate that again. So you did it right, and then it didn't go well. What happened? Who did you listen to maybe that you shouldn't have? Or what did you see in this quarterback that really wasn't there? The whole thing. That's how you move on. And you have to. Obviously, you got a lot of things to close up here first with everybody, but then in the coming weeks, that's what you do.
All right. Lastly, Dallas Turner had a nice second half of the season. 4 forced fumbles, which tied for first in the NFL. I think he finished with like 7 sacks. I would imagine you're expecting even bigger next year, but Dallas in the totality of the season. When Grenard and Van Ginkel were playing. So he's a backup. He's playing half the game max. Whether Eric Wilson returns or not off the season he just had, there could be an inside opening there for Dallas to play with Jonathan and or Van Ginkel. But that's down the road conversation. When it comes to your trained eye, seeing the ins and outs of Dallas Turner this year, but finishing really, really well at age 22. He turns 23 here coming up in a few months. What do you expect next year?
A lot more, right? He finishes the season with 8 sacks. I put him. 8. I'm saying this kid should be 10 next year or more, right? Somewhere in that area. I still go back to what Brian Flores said about him a few weeks ago when he said he's doing the little things right, so the big things are happening and the big plays are being made. It takes he's playing the most difficult position in this defense. Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel they don't grow on trees. These guys can rush. They can stop the run. They can hold the edge. They can read patterns when they're dropping in zone and we're short underneath defenders. They can make tackles in space. They can chase running backs down. These guys, they don't, I'm saying they're very rare. And to have 3 of them is absolutely fantastic. I think Dallas Turner, it took him a while. What he's doing now as a position player is completely alien to what he did in college, right? He wasn't even on the field for 3 downs in college at Alabama. He was a weak side, kind of a defensive end, but he didn't play every play. He wasn't down there for a second. He wasn't on the field for second or third down, right? So there was a lot of football learning that needed to be done, not just by the position, but of the game itself. And he's managed to do all that. And I'm very, very impressed with what he's been able to do. And his athleticism is starting to show more because he's not reading things. He's not taking that fraction of a second to digest what's happening in front of him. Oh, okay, the tackle's down, the back is my way. That means this. And this is, it's becoming more instinctive and you're seeing it. And so I think the sky is the limit. If Flores stays, I'd put him at an 8 or 10, double digit type of sack season next year. I really believe that because the kid is immensely talented and it's starting to show more and more. The sack that he had yesterday when he just absolutely ran around the offensive tackle. It's like that's been we haven't that speed's been there, but it hasn't necessarily shown. But because of the surety and his fundamentals and his techniques and everything being in line, man, that athleticism is starting to show. and it's fantastic.
All righty.
The Analyst.
My man, thanks for everything this year. Thank you, Sioux Cup Manufacturing and SiouxCup.com. Great job as usual, and we'll stay in touch, all right?
All right. See you, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Pete Bercich, analyst for the Vikings Audio Network. Another one as the head coaching carousel goes, another one recently has bitten the dust. We'll share who that was and get into some more, including Ben Leber with a very emotional chat with Harrison Smith in the locker room following the game. We're going to play that back shortly, KFAN. All right, NFL wide. There are head coach openings that we knew of into the weekend in Tennessee and with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons yesterday fired Coach Raheem Morris.
And their GM, Fontenot's out too.
The Cleveland Browns, it was announced this morning, have moved on from Kevin Stefanski, a former Vikings offensive coordinator. And the boondoggle that was Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders has come to a conclusion. It was moderately surprising when he took that job in the first place, but nevertheless, they finished 3-14. And Mark Davis and the Davis family, Tom Brady by their side, they have fired Pete Carroll. Finding out like longevity of coaches' deals and what they make is really tough. But nevertheless, from what I have found, a report from, I think it's a newspaper called The Sun. I don't know if it's a Las Vegas-based paper or whatever, but supposedly Carroll got a 3-year, $45 million deal, which means, they're on the hook for $30 million. Holy cow! And that team is one of the least profitable teams in the National Football League. And Ben Leber put me on this years ago. The owners, Mark Davis, and then the owners of the Chargers, maybe the previous owners,
the Spanos family,
right? They're cash poor would be putting it the wrong way, but they're not in the same league as some of the other owners.
Yeah.
So paying off somebody $30 million, holy cow! But does that tie into Brian Flores and his inclusion with the Minnesota Vikings? That bears conversation later, because now we want to take you back to the locker room yesterday and Ben Leber chatting with Harrison Smith, where it looks like Harrison's 2-5 to retire. Ben and Harrison are quite close. Every time they get together and have an interview like this, man, it's fantastic. This one was 10 of 10.
We're down here with the man of the hour and the man of the year, really, is Harrison Smith. Harry, can you just take us? I know this is probably a tough question because emotionally I'm sure you're all over the place, but from the second that you got your name announced at the start of the game to the very end when you're in your interview and half the team's waiting for you, what were the emotions like from start to finish?
I'm just trying to hold it together, to be honest. It means a lot. All the friendships and relationships and ups and downs and just everything that goes into it. You can sometimes forget along the journey, and you see it all at the end, and it's pretty special.
What's it mean? I know that we do play this game for the respect of teammates and peers, and to have the Packers players come over and dap you up as well. Above everything else, as far as media and fans, what's it mean to have sort of this love and adoration from even the opposing players?
Yeah, it's like you said, that kind of means the most to me because I've always played the game for the game. So when the teams you compete against the most have respect for you, it means you did something right.
I know you still have a lot to think about. I don't know if anybody's really willing to close the door on anything just yet, as you're kind of agreeing with me with that. So, you went through this a little bit last year. Can you take us through the process of what the next maybe couple days, couple weeks, maybe the months look like before you make a final decision?
Yeah, it's kind of different every year. I would say days is not long enough, but I think when you kind of get a send off like this, I'm like, man, I don't really have a choice now. It's so I don't want to say anything really yet, but I'm obviously leaning leaning towards, that potentially being it. Yeah, but I'm not willing to say anything too definitive at the time. But that's obviously where, things are it's kind of where I'm at and kind of where I started going into the season, and wish it would have gone, just a little bit differently, just so we could keep playing, because I think we were kind of starting to figure some things out late in the year. I think that's kind of the one thing that stings a little bit, but at the same time, I don't think, if there's an option to play, it's not really in most guys' nature that I've even talked to that are 45, 50 retired, and they're like, I could still give you a couple reps. So it's just, it's interesting.
Have you talked to Kendricks? Yeah, have you talked to Eric Hendricks about his situation? He's out there, posting about his cars and his life and still doing workouts at UCLA, and now he's starting linebacker for the 49ers going to the playoffs. You feel like that's maybe a possibility for you next year?
I'm not going to rule anything out. I think that era of guys that I was with, Eric being one of them, obviously, there was a lot of guys that knew ball and know how to play, and he can still do it. Even when he's working on his cars, I know he's like, I wish I was out there. So, it's tough. It's tough for any athlete. Guys who come out of college and think they're going to make it and hold on for a couple years just working out. You got Andrew DePaula. He was working out for 3 years, working at Best Buy. Yeah. No shot, no chance. And then all of a sudden he's here 38 years old, 3-time Pro Bowler. It's just kind of a kid's mindset, but there's something about this game that there's just the people who play it have so much drive. It's hard to not give up on it, but to maybe let it go and focus it on something else, which is a good thing as well. So we'll see.
You mentioned the kids part of it, and you played this game with this childlike enthusiasm out there, and now you have a family of your own. And if this is it, if this is the final chapter, and this is your career, as your kids get older and they're kind of learning what Daddy did and what what he's known for, what do you hope that they take away from your career?
I
know it's difficult. It's funny. I'll share this little anecdote with myself. My daughter didn't know I played football until she was in first grade, and her classmates actually brought it up to her, and she's like, "My dad did what?" And she came home from school and she's like, "What did you actually play football?" And so I had to explain to her what it meant. And for a first grader, she still didn't really understand. But it was a fun moment, and actually something that I think worked out the way I wanted to. That I didn't want her to know me as just a football player. So is that something you feel like is going to be maybe in the cards for you as your kids sort of learn who you are?
Yeah, that's same sentiment. My son's 2, and he already knows the Skull chant, and if he sees football on TV, he says "Dada." It's the football and the fandom and all the support and everything is great, but I think it's the work that I want my kids to know about.
Yeah. Well, you were a consummate pro. You always showed us the love and respect for the game and the way that you approached the game and the way you played. So I know we were talking about this last year in the same situation, but appreciate the man that you are and the player that you are, man. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.
A+, Nacho Leber. A+, Harry the Hitman. Parker Fox joins each and every Monday. He's here now. Quick twitch on what you just heard.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I got the chills sitting here first time listening to that, and just the emotion spilling out of Harrison's, and just talking about his family, and how it just shows you how much bigger it is than just football, right? And how these guys have lives. And so many of us just look at them as football players and basketball players and these athletes. And you can just hear the emotion coming out of him and unable to answer a question. Like, that's how emotional he is about it. And credit to Ben right there, too, of kind of deflecting it and telling about his own story. But you can tell Harrison Smith, he loves his team, he loves his state, and there's a reason why Minnesota fans really backed him the way they did.
It's a Monday. Pete Fox has stopped by. We'll be right back.
News to Nord, 9 to noon, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. Poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. And we all patiently await for another awesome live racing season to kick off in the spring, but events throughout the year. And the first place to start, go to CanterburyPark.com. Minnesota Wild have found points in each of their 5 road games as part of this 7-game, 2-week-ish road trip. Sadly, 2 of them have come in losses. They can't figure out the Sharks. They lose in a shootout a few days ago, New Year's Eve, I should say. And then the Kings the other night on Saturday, they lose 5-4 in a shootout. And they are at the Kings again tonight. You're going to get to hear that. It's a late one. West Coast puck drop, though, 9:30 p.m.-ish. You'll get to hear Mr. O'Donnell and Mr. Reed on the call for your favorite hockey team at the Kings. A little doubleheader, I guess, or 2 in a row, I should say, against those Kings.
Yeah, they back at it tonight. With the LA Kings. Yeah, Kevin Fiala is still super, super fast. Holy cow! The LA Kings are a fast squad, and the Wild has done good work against the Pacific all season. Saved the other night against the Kings, but they did get a point. And the Sharks lost the other night. It's kind of like you can take the first 2 shootout related losses and look at those, and you see kind of the same thing here. Celebrini's unbelievable. Macklin Celebrini is unfreaking believable. I know this is the state of hockey, so everybody knows it. Holy cow, is he fun to watch.
Yeah, he is indeed. It's interesting sometimes where we're talking about, wow, the Wild couldn't beat some of the big timers in the conference. And this year, they're handling business there, but they're just, the Sharks have been tricky. They got them earlier when there were more injury-related issues, got them again on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. Couldn't find the W there, but they still get the point. 2 more road games before they come home this weekend.
And one of them is against your Seattle Kraken. And after the game, so the Wild leave after the game, and they fly to Seattle, even though they don't play Seattle for a couple of days. So emerging, budding, television analytical 3-2. Emerging hockey analytical star Alex Stalock, former Wild goalie. He's going to join 9 to noon tomorrow in the 11 o'clock hour at some point.
Well, that's going to be sweet. Now, to the Howl, you know what's sweet about the Howl? Winning 3 of 4 on the road, despite that tough loss at Atlanta. And hey, we got to see That was New Year's Eve as well. Back-to-back dubs at Miami, and then just a throttling of the Washington Wizards. And the Wizards have had an awful year, and they're rolling with McCollum and Middleton, who are names that you would have loved 4 or 5 years ago. But they're a little long in the tooth, might you say, and an undermanned group. They find the W there, won by 26 points. Speaking of Miami, tomorrow night, they come home for 2. They'll host Miami tomorrow night, and then on Thursday, they begin a little home-and-home action Thursday night, hosting Cleveland, at Saturday night at Cleveland. A couple of fun ones on the way for the Howl.
We got Pete Fox around here in the next segment. When we go along with Pete Fox, we'll talk about the Howl.
Absolutely. And then NFL shaping up. We have all the matchups. The regular season finale last night was fun. It was back and forth. Lamar Jackson finding his way into the end zone to take the lead. Oh, wait. Aaron Rodgers has something to say about it. They take the lead, but then Boswell misses the extra point. Awesome 4th down completion from Lamar Jackson to Isaiah Likely, puts them in field goal position. We'll start with the winner's call.
Here's the boot by Loop, and that kick is no good! No good! It's wide right! No he good! Missed it! Loop missed it! And your Pittsburgh Steelers are AFC North champions!
A missed extra point by Boswell. Baltimore finds their way into field goal territory, so the kick will not be for the tie. It will be for the win. Here's the right Jerry Sandusky and Ravens radio as they watched Loop's kick.
Tyler Loop from 44 yards. Sees it on the line. Loop's kick is on the way. It is up. It is no good. He pushed it wide to the right. Time has expired. And not since Billy Cundiff went wide left in the AFC Championship game
To bring that up.
has a Ravens season ended with such a gut-wrenching thud as a missed field goal. And the season is over for the Ravens.
After Mitchell gives them the Duvernay moment.
Yeah, it was a great kick return.
They had the Duvernay kick return moment, and they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Until that.
Yeah. And the
Tyler Loop, the rookie, man, I feel bad for him.
No, that's an awful spot. We've seen it even as Vikings fans. How does a kicker recover from that?
Yeah.
And that's a difficult road ahead for Loop. Broncos, the 1 seed. So they got the bye. 2 seed Patriots hosting the Chargers. Jacksonville hosting the 6 seed Bills. And then it will be the Steelers in the 4 spot after they get that win last night hosting the Texans. And then on the NFC side, Seattle with the bye. The Bears maintain the 2 spot. They lose to the Kitties week 18, but the Eagles, Tanner McKee, they lost to the Commanders. So Bears keep the 2 spot. They host Green Bay on Saturday night. Eagles in the 3 spot hosting the Niners. That should be an interesting one. Panthers in the 4 spot hosting the Rams. And that rounds out the final official playoff schedule as it kicks off Super Wild Card weekend starting this weekend, Saturday.
The Rams are the biggest favorite, and they're a road team. They're favored by 10 points at Charlotte against the Carolina Panthers, who beat them. That Sunday, the Vikings were getting shut out by the Seattle Seahawks. Interesting.
But they've limped their way to the postseason, man. I mean, they even lost. They had the opportunity to take it themselves against the Bucks on Saturday. They lose that game, and the offense just, frankly, hasn't been good enough. And if Dowdle can't get going, they got to thrive on their defense, and they're just not working for them. But then the Falcons, Bijan Robinson and the Falcons beating the Saints yesterday and putting a giant L on the Bucks. That's News to Nord, brought to you by The Casino at CanterburyPark.com.
This is 9 to noon.